Hey everybody, my name is Sheen and welcome back to Let's Play the Stanley Parable. Where we last left off, we did a normal ending. Now we're gonna do the museum ending. So I'm gonna show you that when it finishes loading. Come on. Come on. Excuse me. Come on. Now this is a loading screen where the end is never. Ugh. Yeah. This reminds me of an episode of Ultra Lord, where there was a never-ending thing. I don't exactly remember what it was. And Ultra Lord
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ultra Lord finished the loading thing or something.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It wasn't a very good episode when compared to all the other amazing episodes of Ultra Lord, the animated series.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Let me show you something.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No, he closed the door.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Plenty of reason for your funny dialogue, Mr. Narrator Man.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
What does that mean? You know what? I don't really want to know. Let's see, a wrench, those things.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why?
Because I can.
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
For your funny dialogue. That is all the reason I need.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
I have plenty of choices. I can choose to look at this thing, or all this stuff. Or that light, or the door, or the cardboard.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
They probably would. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a normal broom closet.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
What? Quit making up lies about me. I'm getting out of here.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose.
How when you're dead?
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
Nobody can hear you. I'm wearing headphones.
Fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming. so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
That dialogue was hilarious, we all have to admit.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Ooh, New Age music. Yeah, listen to that calming New Age music. A cool factory.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated,
that middle one is my desktop application for this game, and that's just a thing. Those albino crocodiles or alligators? I don't know. I think it's just a mountain. Let's just go. Let's just go. Alright, down we go to the museum ending. Alright, a slightly faster loading screen. Kind of like the sequel to the episode of Ultralord, the animated series that I was talking about a few minutes ago, called the slightly faster loading thing.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
So anyways, there's a sequel to the long loading thing episode of Ultralord, the animated series.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Called the faster loading thing.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
And it was pretty much a copy of the other episode of its prequel. So yeah, still not as good as other episodes of Ultralord, the animated series. Let's head down here. Alright, another one. It's going, and there it is. I'm in a thing.
As the machine whirred into motion, and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story. Trapped forever in his
How is all this under an office building?
Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Cool.
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What? Okay.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever.
Yeah,
what
the lady
exactly
narrator.
did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Is that the narrator's narrator?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
the nature paintings. The office layout. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the 2 doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. So this is the office, and then it goes to the doors. Corridor. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the 2 doors in a good time. The 2 doors. A set of 2 open doors was the very first correct piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it. An exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Cool, so this is like developer commentary. The office. Button sounds. A selection of the sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Cool. I guess that's cool. Credits for the Stanley Parable. These guys. Kevin Brighting is the narrator, and then that guy. Amazing source by Valve. Office computers. This. Solitaire. Filing cabinets. Anything else here? Sure there is. This. The maintenance room. An early version of the maintenance room. This is just the copy machine. Another thing from the office. The point of the Stanley Parable HD remix is words. Lots of words. And when this is the HD remix, it was originally just a Half-Life 2 mod. That's a thing. This looks kind of cool. Warzone. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Okay, hang on. Greenlight. It's in September of 2012, we submitted the Stanley Parable to Greenlight, Valve's process of approving games for Steam. The Greenlight page had only a series of cryptic photos, which were still enough to win the community's approval. What is this? Room James. Subject, love the game. Greetings, omnipotent voice. I want to tell you... Oh, dang. Narrator emails. After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these in further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here's a selection of those emails. I almost thought that said Shigeru Miyamoto. The office. That would have been cool. The lounge. An early version of the lounge. The apartment timer. In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Cool. Cargo lift. This second version is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we want it to look more like a place where cargo is actually stored. Yeah, that looks like something out of Portal. So does that kind of. The cargo lift. The cargo lift was always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping to a different path. However, after this early version, we decided we also wanted the option of the player falling to their death. Much stuff here. Meeting room. Cool. First choice and stuff. The maintenance layout. The flow of hallways following the first two doors was important to get right since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. Okay, what's this? Zending model. The Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon it and change it again shortly before launch. Okay, I don't really remember that ending. Escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this is what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. The Zending. This screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as the Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Zending levers. These levers were originally a part of the Zending. The player would pull a lever and the narrator would describe what color lever they had pulled. Okay. The monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down, and placed the two endings together instead. Countdown room. An early version of the countdown room. This is the exit. Freedom ending. This is the freedom ending as it existed in beta. Countdown desk. One of the desks from an early version of the countdown ending. Freedom ending. This is the very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Cool. This is all very cool. The office clock. The boss's office. Screens from the development of the boss's office. Okay. Some early versions and the final version. Cool. Okay. Let's keep looking around. Employee lounge. Underground. An early version of the underground portion of the game. These are just... I think this just silently plays random narrator dialogue. Narration outtakes. Kevin Brighting, the voice of the narrator, recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game. I can barely hear them. Okay, let's see if there's any other cool stuff. You could pretty much make a Did You Know Gaming video about the Stanley Parable just using everything in the museum ending. And look at this one. Game design mock-up. This is the level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. The strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed, the basic layout from this mock-up is still in the game. Okay. Stanley's office. Stanley's office. Stanley's office. Oh, I'm assuming these are early versions of Stanley's office. Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November of 2011, the second in March of 2012, and the third in February of 2013. Alright. So this is the first version of Stanley's office. This is the second version of Stanley's office. And this is the final version of Stanley's office. Okay, let's go finish the ending now. I think this has gone on long enough.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
There.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Who, Stanley and the narrator?
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Nah, I'm gonna keep with this.
It. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Hello? Is that it? Okay, I guess that was it. So, yeah, that's where I'm gonna be ending off this video. In the next video, I'm gonna get another ending that you can get down there in the mind control facility. But for now, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!